where's the, what? That's our pitch. It's not showing. This is there we go. Oh, where's the, what? That's our pitch. It's not showing.
We'll get it one day, Tom. We'll get it one day.
Getting some weird. There we go. Is that working now? Oh, I hope it's working. I'm going to put my hands up like this so I can see on the stream that it's working. There we go. Yes.
Well done. We did it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sit, Talk and Hobby, episode 104. Well done, us.
104.
Well, apparently,
That's
might be
what,
more
I mean,
than
no, it was definitely 103 last week. I mean, I reckon we have messed the count up at some point, but we're definitely over 100.
Well, there we go. Definitely over 100, between 10 and 100 something. Well, welcome everybody. As always, I'm Dom, and this is.
I would be Tom.
Oh, nice to meet you.
And together we make up Black Toe Studios. So
yes, good times. So basically, we just sit here, we talk hobby, we also hopefully do some hobby, and hopefully you guys are joining us as well. So I don't think there's many people in the chat tonight.
No.
Captain Jack, hello. Hopefully you're doing some hobby tonight.
The ever faithful Captain Jack. I think, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make Captain Jack's symbol an emoji in the channel as an honour for the amount of times that he's turned up.
That's a good idea.
I think I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to take it, as long as I have your permission to use your little graphic there. I don't know if it's your, I mean, it's probably for something that I don't know what it is, but so that is going to be my little task later on.
Okay. Tom, what hobby are you working on tonight?
I am working on more Sisters of Battle, actually. So I have my another Rhino here, which I've done the red on, as you can see.
Indeed.
Nicely done. Yeah, so quite enjoying doing these at the moment. So I'm, just concentrating on them. What about yourself?
Well, I have been doing Possessed all week. And we're just saying beforehand, I have got them to a point where they are drying. So they're between washes at the moment. So hopefully by the time I finish, that might be a good point to carry on. But tonight I'm going to be popping bits off sprues and adding these to bits boxes.
Oh.
Because I've got so much stuff lying around and I need to kind of cut these sprues
a cathartic task.
There you go. What about everyone in the chat?
Yes. What are all of you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
There'll be some good answers, and we will judge them.
All of them.
Because I hope you're all working your challenge entries. You know, there's a lot of painting to be done between now and the week after Warhammer Fest. Just when we'll
Warhammer
be doing...
Fest.
Warhammer Fest! I believe a couple of people are actually going. If I remember correctly.
I need us facing models. Oh, very nice.
That's cool, Captain Jack. Well, I will immortalise it for you in our thing. But if you ever want me to remove it, just you let me know, and I will take it away from our portfolio. But I thought, you're quite a regular, and I think there should be a Captain Jack emoji.
Basing some models. Very nice. Mr. Holland, what models are you currently basing?
An emergency entry for another tournament, probably, right?
Never emergency. It's all planned out with him. It's not an emergency.
And Zidane, which I hope I said right, or Zidadan, whatever I do. I was going to do with Zidane, working on files for a 3D printable RC Panzer II in 1/16th scale. Now that is one of the more unique answers we have had for a while.
Yeah,
I like it. That sounds cool. I would love you to post your results up when you finally get them done. So ping it into Discord when you get a chance, if you are a member of it. If not, let me know and I'll drop a link in shortly anyway.
Yeah, that'd be very cool actually to see a RC Panzer. Desolation.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
not even I am lowering myself to that, Dom. Just like the ATV. Just like the ATV. I can't do it.
myself and Dave had a game the other day, which we'll go into in a
Yes,
bit.
I think you had a couple. Didn't you?
We did have a couple, yeah. And Captain Jack. We're getting some paint schemes.
For the homebrew.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
I think
look
I
forward
saw
to
some of
seeing
those
that.
pictures actually. Yeah, I think you were putting some. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, cool. Nice. Well, yes, I did. I did play Mr. Holland, played as Space Wolves.
I
My
know.
first game of 9 for a long time.
Yeah, I'm in that
Actually.
club at the moment. If I'm totally honest, I kind of committed to not playing ninth again and now, unless maybe with you for a stream, maybe like a farewell one or something.
Well.
A farewell to ninth, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played 9th for a good long time. But, at least 3 months, let's say, probably longer. Yeah, it was a very fun game. Obviously, I've signed up for this event with Mr. Dave, and I was like, well, I better actually remember how to play some 9th edition, I suppose.
I was going to say you've got a very good reason to be fair. So because you're doing a tournament, a team tournament actually, aren't you? I think if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly. So the word bearers came out against the Space Wolves, and yeah, had a good couple of games.
Did you win any of them?
Well, the first one I lost. I wouldn't say quite badly. It wasn't that bad, really. It wasn't. The second one was a lot closer. I think there's probably 10 points in it.
Nice.
But to go against someone who knows his army back to back.
I will give Mr. Holland that. He's a fearsome opponent when it comes to professional play.
Yes, my guys did very well. I was very proud of them.
I suppose
pulled
Chaos
out the
Marines have
bag.
got to be good at something.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They are good at stuff, right? So yes, it was a very enjoyable game, and I've been busy painting my possessed. So they are very close to being finished. I've finished the reds, the mutated greedy stuff, the metal work. I've just got to wait for the bones and horns to finish the coat on them.
But what about that other thing you got?
Well, he's going to be on the list at some point. I've got 10 more Terminators.
I know, mate. I know.
I've got lots to paint, mate.
It's not good enough.
We've got so much to paint.
You should have had that finished by now.
But I am absolutely love painting at the moment. I've really got into it. I'm having a lot of fun. And I think the Possessed are going to look very cool once they're finished.
Well, I think I was leading to you the other day. It was where, obviously I made this video about having painter's block, which I was quite heavily in. And then literally, it's amazing sometimes when you start to do something and the little thing sort of ticks on in the back of your mind, like, oh, this is okay. And it took me going back to an army that I hadn't touched probably since I bought it. I actually looked at the codex and I thought, I don't think I've opened this since I bought it. And I was like, why? This was one of my most, I used to rave on about Sisters for ages, and then it came out and I don't think I ever played a game with them apart from one, I think with you for the Crusade thing, I think it was. Oh no, that was your Sisters and I was playing Nurgle.
Yeah.
So no.
I'm sure you've played them once, haven't you?
I might have done. This is my point. If I can't remember that I've done it, it's unlikely to have happened in a kind of multiple times or in a meaningful way, I suppose. So yeah, I was a bit like, oh, but now I'm like, this is. But I think it was definitely down to changing the color scheme. I think it's going back to the original army I collected and the scheme I used on it, and it was like, oh yeah, this is good. I feel this is good. I like this. So yeah,
nice. Yeah, I must say I do love the Sister Battle. They are very cool. I've got a little force myself with them, and they are lovely models to have, to paint, to model, and to play. I've played a few small scale games with them. I would like to play a big game, but I don't really have the points for that.
No,
unfortunately.
But like I said, I'm going to be getting.
We have played them. I have played them on the live stream before. Actually, I think I played them against your Night Lords.
I think you did as well. Yes, I think I do recall that one. And like I said, I'm going to buy the combat patrol for our little league thing, and that's what I'm going to use to expand this full set. And I think I'll be pretty close to having a fairly sized army actually, because I realised obviously I've actually got 2 exorcists knocking about as well. Because I bought one ages ago which I never painted. I'm going to have there'll be a video out tomorrow for you guys to watch about my adventures with poor undercoat. I had a very bad time with that actually. I think I
Now
must.
the last video, bad
That
undercoating.
was one of them, but I'd unfortunately used the same spray on 4 models, on 4 vehicles.
Oh no!
Essentially, for the most, what I've been doing actually with the system is stripping the ones I undercoated. So, and yeah, it was pretty. I don't know what it was. It was weird. It was like it had like a just graininess all over it. Like proper like, and then if I try when I thought, oh no problem, I'll just go over it with the red Mephiston spray.
Well, sometimes that can be down to the paint drying before it actually hits the model.
Yeah.
So that could also be like a temperature thing as well.
Well, the weird thing was, because I thought, I'll just respray them in the colour I want, no problem. But I did that, and when I sprayed it, all the patches that had the greyness on it, they did that kind of pooling thing where all the paint receded to the centre of those kind of patchy points. And I was like, oh, well, this isn't very good. And then, unfortunately, I had to biostrip all of them. So,
oh dear.
But it did let me discover the biostrip squirty can, which was actually really helpful. I'd definitely recommend having one of those knocking about for emergencies in paint stripping anyway. So
yeah, definitely. How are the Desolation Marines coming along on the basing there, Dave? I tell you what, Tom, those Desolation Marines, they're not very fun.
Yeah, if I'm totally honest, I never had any doubt that they weren't going to be good. I cannot still. It's like the ATV. I cannot get over how they look. I find it very. I'd almost say offensive. Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? It's kind of.
Yeah.
Although we are all invested in space soldiers, superhuman space soldiers in the far, far future, which is insane. When they come out with things like the ATV or the Desolation Marines with their weapons, you're like, that is unrealistic. Why have they got these silly guns? But yeah, no, I completely get what you mean. It's a bizarre thing.
It's very difficult for me to buy those models, even though I know they're probably very good. I've seen quite a few lists using them when I've been sort of watching some of the other YouTube videos and stuff knocking about of Desolation stuff, and I know that they're not terrible at all. So, but I just can't bring myself to add them to my Templars. It doesn't really suit my Templar theme anyway, so I'm not. It's not a loss to me. And maybe for my Red Scorpions, potentially, if I was to go. But to be honest, I don't know what I'm doing with them. One of my most favourite looking armies, and one that
they're very nice army you've got actually with your Red Scorpions.
But no desire to jump back into them because I feel they've robbed them of their kind of backstory and I suppose lore in a way. Because they've kind of been all of the special units bar I think Cullen's left now have kind of disappeared and gone the way of the dodo.
I think there might be more because you had not too long ago you had that command set that came out, didn't you?
They had the dual model.
Are they characters? Yeah, are they named characters?
But they're not.
Or are they just normal characters?
They were named characters, but you can use, but they're no longer available.
Oh really?
Yes, that I'm aware of anyway. But that's I think that's down to a lot of Forge World decisions being made of how they're pushing their kind of their model range now, because it's very much going the way of all Games Workshop pretty much, bar very particular models.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't recall seeing them on there anymore unless I've missed them. Because I must admit, when we were looking at your birthday present options, I was pondering on a Lorgar model for you.
Yeah, nice. Cullen is no longer available.
There you go.
Wow.
But, yeah, this is what I was talking about, and it's things like that that are slightly disheartening when you've collected something. I mean, I know obviously it's about popularity, and they have to say, well, this one, it's not. It is quite a niche collection. To be fair, it's not going to be something that a lot of people are going to collect. Um,
No.
So ultimately, I understand the business sense in not having to stock it all, but it is a shame for anyone who's maybe collected them previously, because they had, they were part of some of the Horus Heresy Imperial Armory books that were very good, and obviously they've kind of stopped doing them as well, haven't they? So I don't
I
remember.
think, yeah, I think if you look at the codexes now, there's not much in them these
No.
days. Just general. It serves a purpose. It's there. However, I was looking at the. I don't know if you saw earlier, the Warhammer community site put up a rule for Imperial militias for Horus Heresy.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
And there is a lot of stuff on that PDF. There's like 45 pages of that PDF. And I was like, wow, that's actually quite impressive for a free PDF to get 45 pages. And there seems to be a lot of like narrative bits on there, as well as, all these rules for units that may not make anymore. So I was like, oh, good for them. But you wouldn't have that for 40k.
No. So I think 40k is about keeping stuff very current. Which is always funny how I find that we love the lore of like the Horus Heresy, but we don't even play that particular game system, which is quite funny, really. And also we play probably a couple of armies that I know obviously Black Templars aren't technically Horus Heresy, but you can draw some very straight parallels to the Imperial Fist with Sigismund. And that's
Sigismund and his Templars right there, aren't
exactly. So you kind of, and we're playing these armies that are actually, that's where they got the majority of their fame from. And then but ultimately I think we both looked at Horus Heresy a long while ago and went, yeah, it's 7th edition. We kind of don't really, but maybe something we might go back and look at one time. I don't know. You never know, really.
Maybe in some ways now, especially when it comes to the tanks, it's a lot more accessible than it was.
Yes.
Because there's so many plastic kits now, which is brilliant. So Dave Holland just doing the mud on the bases. Sculpt. They're a good tool for the army. Yeah, I mean, like I said, rules wise, they're pretty brutal. I think Self and Dave were discussing. I mean, they're pretty bad against, not bad, pretty nasty against my Chaos Space Marines. However, if they went against a lighter armored army, it'd be even more brutal. they kind of reminded me a lot of the Centurion threat range. Remember with your Centurions when you and you're like, oh god, right, okay, I've got to stay out of range of these guys.
Yeah, because
it's going to get a volley of shots off, and it's really going to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't even run. I don't think I even ran the bad ones.
Yeah, so yeah, not fun. But they are pretty brutal.
So Captain Jack saying there, I think Red Scorpions will make a comeback. Seems to remember Black Library saying that after Horus Heresy moving into the early Imperium. Yeah, if I'm totally honest, that would be, I could definitely see that happening. And honestly, if they were to rewrite the Bad Admiral, I know me and Dom would be probably quite interested in having a little look at that. Because it was actually one thing a long while ago, we were pondering about jumping into a bit of a campaign with some other people we knew, but it didn't really come to fruition.
No, I think some of the people involved just disappeared off the radar.
Yeah,
and it kind of coincided with Games Workshop dropping a lot of support for the those chapters. So it was like, oh no, never mind. But I think they don't really have to do. They just need to release a model range, launch a model range, or a couple of like campaign books.
I think another Imperial Armor
behind, the narrative behind the Badab War is brilliant.
It's a very epic tale with a lot of good kind of stories written into it, and also the wide range of chapters they have involved, which are not the standard bread and butter ones, which I think is actually the important bit. So you hear about all these other ones that have been brought up from the founding, and it adds to that kind of mysteriousness. So yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, Games Work, if you're listening, let's have it.
Give it to us. Aha, aha. Yes. So yes, my game against Dave, very enjoyable. My chaos did very well. I just need to play the list a few more times, I think, really, just to
Is that the list you're taking to the tournament?
probably, yeah.
So yeah, you're not doing World Eaters or anything.
No.
No,
No,
because
no,
I
no.
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if the possessed. I thought you were doing some 8 bound as well or something. Maybe I was.
Oh no, I quite like the idea of 8 bound. But I think painting 10 possessed in a row now
That's enough
is,
for you.
is enough for now. I'm quite looking forward to doing the Terminators, to be honest, because at least they've got quite straightforward paint scheme. The
Yeah,
possessed are all weird bits of flesh and horns and spikes and all sorts going on.
yeah. No,
So
I get that. I think doing this. I mean, I haven't redone. I mean, most chaos models are like that though. They have that little extra edge to them,
yeah,
which normally consists of some form of bone or flesh, extra tones and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And that's
So
the thing. That thing about like the Desolation Marines, for instance. Marines are pretty straightforward, aren't they?
yeah,
They're all quite uniform. You might get a little purity seal here or there,
which you can
or
leave off if you want anyway. It doesn't really matter. So they
yeah.
tend to blend in with the model either way. So
Tell you what
um,
though, with the Chaos Terminators, I was snipping little trinkets off of them. I was like, sod that, sod that, get rid of that. I'm not doing that. There are all this stuff hanging off of them all the time.
I was actually, I think the one thing I like about the Sisters Army is it's a lot more simplistic to paint than I think people realise. Because as much as you have all these little ornate things, they tend to be very close on the body, so they kind of blend in a lot with the general paint scheme, which is quite nice.
Yeah,
Which I've noticed having converted a few of my over from my white painting scheme because I haven't actually resprayed them. I've just been redoing the armor because on the whole, there's not a lot to change on them, bar the armor and some of the cloth work. So it's been quite a nice, quite a nice transition actually. So I'm just
yeah,
trying to keep on top of. So every time I do a bit of the vehicle, let it dry, and then I switch to doing some of the foot troops. So luck, I've only got, well, I've got less than 30 to do now, but I did have about 30 odd to do. So
yeah. That's not too bad. So the paint wasn't too thick on the battle system models.
not at all. No, I was pretty good with them because I think that when I was doing them, I was in a very, I think I was in a very, I don't know, my mindset was very let's get this right first time and not try to overdo it. And luckily, I find that my white recipe only really requires maybe 2 to 3 coats total of very light coating, so it's not too bad. Because Celestial Grey, which is the base for it, is a pretty good base coat. It's got really high pigmentation in it, so it tends to cover in one and a bit coats really. So
Oh, that's good.
it's like that because that is the that is basically one coat on there pretty much. So yeah, it's fairly all right to be honest. So can't really complain.
Nice. That is good. That is good. Yeah, with my my possessor at the moment, I think on the flesh bits. So as always, do a silver spray to start with. Then they've got a dark green wash, a slightly lighter green, one more green on top of that, and some bits have gone with a slightly off. Like, is it the pallid witch
Parish Rich
flesh?
Flesh, yeah, that's a good skin tone.
Well, I put a very light dry brush just to highlight a couple of areas, but that's about it for the. So they've got about 4 paints, 4 colors for the flesh.
That's
For
not
the
too bad.
reds, got uh, three different layers for the red.
Yeah, I think the worst flesh color ones I did was well, when I say worst, I mean the ones that were annoying to do was when I was doing my witch elves. They were like because it's 90%, well, okay, about maybe 80% skin.
Yeah,
It's just like you have to, and you can't just do it all the same because it looks pretty bad otherwise. So you have to really tone it. Otherwise, it
I
just
get you got those.
yeah, they're still on the shelf. I'm still meaning to go back to them one day. I was supposed to be doing them as a kind of a mini tribute to my aunt as a challenging paint scheme because she was a painter. It was kind of something I was going to do, but I've never really kind of picked them back up again at the moment. But I think I'll do them one day. It's one of those things. Age of Sigmar hasn't really pulled me in as a major interest, so
Well, Tom, as you know, I am an expert of AOS.
I heard you had one game.
I've had one game, so I count myself as an expert on the channel. Um,
more games than me. I don't think I've played Age of Sigmar. Well, maybe I did a long time ago, but
no, you didn't,
yeah,
Tom. Otherwise, you'd be on par being the expert, and I'm the expert. I know you're not the expert. And it is an enjoyable game system, Tom.
Well, we should be seeing it soon.
Yeah.
Because I must admit, I've been keeping up with the 10th edition. So I don't know if you saw the psychic stuff today.
Yes, I did indeed.
Which is quite interesting. Obviously, there's no more psychic phase, which is I actually really like personally. They've changed obviously most of the psychic stuff into essentially shooting based weapons with certain rules on it, and also they've changed the psychic some of the psychic powers into auras, which I think is really nice. So that they join a unit, they have that ability you put on who they're with, which is even better.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's like a blessing, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah, it kind of gets rid of that, trying to make sure your librarian's in a kind of location to cast all these things off or whatever, and all that kind of all that jazz. I mean, I think the most complaints I saw were coming from people that had very psychic heavy armies like Thousand Suns and Grey Knights and maybe Eldar, I suppose, on some level. But ultimately, I'm not too sure what the complaints are about, other than the fact that they think they've been, I say, shortchanged on some of their stuff, but we don't know enough about it to make that kind of judgment. I don't think.
No, I think the thing is as well so actually, before I go into my view, what's everyone's views on the psychic phase disappearing? Are we pro psychic phase disappearing, or are we against it? But when it comes with like Thousand Suns, for instance, or Grey Knights, when you play them, unless you know their army back to back, they could be doing anything.
Yeah,
I've had games against Thousand Suns, and I'm like, I'm trusting you to be honest and sincere with the things you're doing right now.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
So to make it a bit more straightforward, perfect. Like for anyone coming up to play a game against 1,000 Suns, and they go, "This is what we do." That's it.
Here's my card.
Here's my card. Yeah. Here's my card for that unit. Happy times.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing I'm starting. This is the bit I'm most excited for, because it means that if you do have a rules question, it is almost a matter of going, "Oh, here you go. Have a look at that." There's no real ambiguity about it anymore. Not like, "Oh, I think it was on page 97 of the main rule book, or was it in my codex?"
Oh man, I'll tell you what, it did remind me when I was playing Dave, with my Chaos Codex, how poorly laid out it is.
It's awful.
I was just like, oh my goodness. This is why I normally use Battlescribe.
Yeah, it was one. That's one of the reasons that I don't think I play my Night Lords a lot, because I found most of the rules in that particularly difficult to keep track of. Which is a shame, really, because it was. I mean, actually, the codex, I suppose, from a content point of view, is pretty good. They had a lot of cool stuff.
Content-wise, brilliant. I can't fault it. Like the general rules for the Chaos Codex, lovely. The way it's laid out, not so lovely, because you've got the stratagems that you want here, your Legion ones, the generic ones, and then the prayers are around here somewhere. Yeah. The psychic abilities are over there. Warlord traits, I don't know, put them at the front somewhere, and you're like, what's going on with this codex? It's ridiculous.
No, completely agree, because I still remember trying to find like I think the weird one in that codex was the one with the obviously Marines have the whole devastated thing, but you had like the
the wanton massacre,
destruction. And that is in a completely different section to like the army rules, and I found myself always forgetting that one, because I was like, oh no, that's literally under the book. I need to go and find that.
Nonsense, Tom. Absolute nonsense. Right. Let's see what Jack's saying here. I don't see it being a major issue. Lots of psychic phase could be rolled into other phases anyway. Army buff commands, smite shooting. Yeah, and that's what they're doing, Jack. They're going to be putting those powers into the other phases, which is a bit more relevant.
Yeah. And more universal special rules which apply across the board, which I really like, because I think Dom might agree with me on this one, that most of the time we refer to them to the old things anyway all the time. It's like, like Deep Strike was pretty much the code word for anything that came on.
That wasn't on the board.
Exactly. And even though they had all manner of fancy names for it. It was the same. We called it the same thing ever since probably 5th edition. I'm going to guess. Because that's all it does. They didn't need to. They didn't need to do that. It was. I mean, they can call it what they want, but they make the rule the same. That's what I say. They can call it. You can describe it how they want, but the rule is the same, and that's the bit that's the important bit. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. Dave, think it would work better, simpler in the long run, and help speed games up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you're right, Dave.
Yeah, and I think when you turn up somewhere now with a nice list, you can just say, the card thing for me is the cool thing in my opinion, because it's something that I think you and me, especially when we tried, I think that was one of the positive things we had in the Apocalypse box set when we played it. We liked the fact that you had cards, for all the units, but ultimately the rules were bad. It's like they've come like full circle back to something that they were trying to do a while ago, but never quite. Excuse me. Never quite. Sorry, Tom.
Calm down, Tom.
Never quite got, because I think we all thought cards were going to be coming very soon. Because they kept doing it for like fringe armies, like the Knights. And for what was the other one? They had I swear they did it for another army as well. But
yeah, they did actually. Yeah. Right? Yeah, there was a couple of armies where they were releasing the cards with the
the World Eaters, as an example.
World Eaters did it
because they and if I'm totally honest, if you think about Games Workshop, I reckon the World Eaters releases they did in the White Dwarf was their little practice for what they were doing. It's almost like that's how far ahead they were thinking, because they were trying to see how they would be received. Because I remember you come around to play your World Eaters that time, and you literally had them all on little cards, and actually for you that was
good, wasn't it?
That was good. There was no kind of like messing about. If you pick an army and you have XXXX, you just take this card, this card, this card, leave the rest at home. You don't need the rest. It's nice and simple.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, instead of carrying your Space Marine Codex with 200 units in there, you can just bring the ones that you're going to bring.
But next week, obviously, me and Dom are going to be up at Fest, and we'll hopefully be able to actually have a game on the demo booth for 10th edition and give you some proper feedback. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was a whole. Judging from the map layout, there was quite a big area for it. So, and I can't remember if there's anyone in chat who is going. Obviously, let us know which day you're down there. We'll try and meet up and have a little drink or something, because we're staying up there for the full 3 days. So we are around. You can find us with our uniquely tailored shirts.
Indeed.
Actually, I need to get your one over to you.
Out like a sore thumb.
So look for our logos on our back. Well, actually, sorry, our caricatures on our backs is what you need to look out for. So you'll see us.
Yes, it will all be good. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, so guys, come and find us if you are up there.
Obviously, I'll make sure I have Discord running on my phone so that you can, if you message on there, I'll try and make sure it's not too long between me seeing a message or something on there. Because as much as I'd love to give my personal phone number out, I don't think it's a very good idea.
That's right, so I'll put it in the chat right now.
Oh, thanks, Dom. So kind of you. You always think of me in these situations.
Yep, no problem.
I'll just
make it easy for everyone.
I've literally just broken this model.
What have you done to it?
The storm bolt just snapped off. I don't know whether I think it was actually.
Drop it?
No, I didn't. I really didn't. I was picking it up and I picked it up by the storm bolter and it snapped off.
How's everyone's hobby going in the chat at the moment? Are we still doing desolation basing? Are we making our Panzer tank still? Or what's going on, guys? What's going on in the chat? What hobby are we doing?
Nothing, Dom. They don't want to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, mate. Something about your untrustworthy face.
It is an untrustworthy face.
Ah, Mr. Blue has arrived. Stone Troll. Very nice.
They've got a troll.
I think we should play Lord of the Rings.
They've got a troll.
I want to
see the dioramas at Warhammer World. I've seen a few pictures of them now, the Lord of the Rings stuff. And it's not something I normally pay that much attention to when we've been up there. But
maybe. We need to plan. We need to plan another trip up there at some point. Actually, I think we need to plan another. Maybe we should organise a Black Toad meetup at Warhammer World.
Yeah, should do. That would be good.
And we'll have to pay for Mr. Blue's ticket from America, right?
No, I know it's not a Lord of the Rings troll. It should be though.
Yeah.
I mean, those trolls do look quite cool from Lord of the Rings. Actually, the actual models of them, I'm like, they are pretty cool.
I'm actually genuinely shocked we have never actually got into playing Lord of the Rings. If you think about our back history on how much we like Lord of the Rings for starters, just as that as a base level, we just like there's a game out for it.
Say that about Star Wars, to be honest.
Oh, okay, that is also true. I mean, it's quite amazing how we kind of drift on past not playing these other things that we've got such a kind of strong connections with, sort of from watching films, series, or loving the lore about them. And honestly, it's weird that we never actually picked up. And I know it's because we focus quite heavily on one particular game system and whatever. But it's quite funny how because I think the other funny thing was obviously when we created the studio, I think we initially said we were never going to focus purely on we'd give ourselves the option. That's why we called it what we did, because we didn't want to say no, this is all we do. But we've never really sort of branched out, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, I completely agree. It did take up valuable space in the White Dwarf magazine, and I think Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I want to see like Helm's Deep, and every time people see a version of Helm's Deep, it's like a minuscule version of it, and you're like, oh, rubbish.
I get what you mean, because obviously that game is very much designed around small kind of skirmish battles, really, isn't it?
It's all about the heroes, isn't it?
Yeah, really? Exactly. And I think that's probably why we've never really gone, let's do it. I mean, if they suddenly turn around and they did like an epic scale, Lord of the Rings style thing, you might turn around and go, oh, actually, this could be quite fun.
Well, back in the 90s or the 2000s, they definitely did a Battle of Five Armies. Absolutely did that. But obviously they dropped support for it. But they did an epic version of Lord of the Rings.
It's interesting they've managed to hang on to the license for so long.
I suppose no one's after it now, are they?
True.
No one's overly concerned. Oh, I found a cult with Psalm.
I think if I'd looked at the old rules, the age when it took all the room, I was still shunned players and achievers. Oh, yeah, Dave's got the bloody Star Wars Legion box set. I mean, the other one I've actually secretly really wanted to try out was Titanicus. But
I've got Titan for Titanicus.
Yeah, I know you. Maybe I'll treat myself when I got to Warhammer World next week, or maybe I'll buy the Titanicus thing. I'll buy the start set for us.
Is that Titanicus preview?
Do you know what? Actually, I don't think there was. Let me just. I'm just gonna get my phone. I'll just check the. I'll check what the schedule said again, because we've been having a look at the schedule today because we were curious as to what was actually sort of occurring over the.
Was occurring?
See here.
I think if I was to play old rules, the engagement took all the room. And I was at shunned the Games Workshop store. Sometimes actually booed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love the Lord of the Rings if it was like a massive scale, but it always seems quite disappointing. I don't know who it is online. There's a YouTube channel that does a load of terrain, and he was making a lot of these like set pieces.
Not Luke's apps, was it?
No. How does? I think he's in Australia or New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Absorb. Yes, that's the one. Honestly, that terrain and that stuff is like amazing.
Hey, look, even Jack's like, bam, yeah, that guy. We're so with the community here. We know everything.
That's it. I meant to remember a name like Zorb.
I bet you won't forget it now.
It rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? But that is the guy I'm talking about, and the stuff he makes and the stuff his community makes, absolutely amazing. I'd love to play on some of those boards. Yeah. Dave Holland's got Star Wars. Yeah, Legion. That's the thing. It's time consuming, isn't it? I don't know if Legion's meant to be a brilliant or not.
Well, the Star Wars game is supposed to be very good, as I understand it. But I guess we'll have to. Yeah, I mean, okay. With regards to Titanic, well, there doesn't seem to be any particular reveal for it, and that can probably tell you something about it. I suspect. I mean, they might roll it into the Horus Heresy stuff, I suppose, because it's that. I suppose it's focused around that era, isn't it? So they have a lot of. I mean, like the first day, you've got a 40k reveal, then a Q&A for 40k. Quite looking forward to those, actually. I think that'll be quite fun to sit in on. But then it's basically Warcry, Middle Earth.
I mean, going on to Titanicus, I haven't heard bad things about Titanicus.
No. Maybe we should just try it. Maybe we should just try it. Maybe I'm actually genuinely tempted because I've got some. I'll probably have some birthday expenditure I need to lose next week, so I might make that just as something a bit different. I might do that.
Where is he? Come here, you.
So Sudan's saying, check out his Weta Workshop studio visit. It's the companion of making feature. Oh wow, I didn't realise. Oh cool. I will. Do you know what? I will definitely check that out. I love the Weta Works stuff. Honestly, that's the one. Oh nice. Yeah.
I've got a Titan here.
Mr. Blue says, I have heard rumblings about Epic making a return. I actually think you should start to believe those rumblings because I think there will be a return of Epic. I've got I don't know, I've got this feeling that they're going to do that style of game soon.
I think it's inevitable these days with the way models are designed. It's so much easier to make those for that scale.
Yes, Jack, 100%. I'll tell you what, I will. Maybe we'll see what 2023 looks like, but if not, we'll make maybe 2024. Like we'll do a whole year of planning prep and try and have a little meetup for some people who want to come and play some games with us as well. Try and make it something interesting, not necessarily down where we are, but maybe somewhere sort of a little bit more north, because I think that's. I get the impression that a lot of people that watch our stream
much more south than we are.
I know.
Unless you're going to get your feet wet.
Captain, Titanic stuff is surprised. Yeah, I think Titanic was a natural, I suppose, downsize of a lot of stuff that's been going on anyway over the years. If you look at what they've been doing, especially if you think about the old world stuff as well, because isn't that supposed to be slightly smaller, the old world stuff, or was it the same? I couldn't remember what I saw the other day.
They were saying there was something about the old world about the base sizes, weren't they? The bases were going to be slightly bigger, which fine. Yeah. I mean, if you played fantasy, it was quite hard sometimes to get the models on their bases. So
east of Stockholm in Sweden. I mean, we could go to Sweden, Dom.
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, so bigger bases. That makes perfect sense.
Battlefield Gothic as well. I mean, I'd love to see a return of Gothic. That's one game I never got to try. But I heard a lot about.
A few times, and I really like Gothic. But then again, lots of the older games that we kind of look at nostalgia-wise, like Gorgon Walker, Necromunda.
Yeah, I mean,
they were all good games. They were all I played all of them. All very enjoyable games.
I would say rose tinted though.
No, I don't know.
You reckon if you went back and tried, if you picked up Mordheim now, do you think you'd enjoy it as much?
Yes, because there's still a massive Mordheim community. Which
all
I
right.
think
it
speaks volumes that people are still playing it. Like, I don't know, 20 years on, maybe, that people are still playing a game system that's had no support. And maybe also, if we look at more time, maybe it's, I don't know, this is what I've observed. I know there's still an active community. Maybe it just stopped at the right time. Maybe there was no insane balance issue. And people were like, actually, this is still quite well balanced.
Do you know what? That's a really good point.
But if, for instance, if Warhammer Fest turned around and went, 40k announcement, no 10th edition. That's it. We're no longer supporting
I actually would not be happy. I would be very unhappy.
Exactly. How many people would
very unhappy. Very unhappy. But I will admit the one thing that I found, obviously I think it must have been fourth and fifth. There was quite a big gap, especially after fifth. I think there was a very long gap for fifth edition to go to sixth, because obviously sixth, seventh, and onwards was very, very quick. I actually missed the fact that we played fifth edition for quite a few years before a new edition came out, and you felt quite settled in how everything was working, and it was nice.
Yeah.
Whereas now I feel, especially when we're doing like recording your games and stuff, I know we haven't. I mean, actually, that probably tells you something. We haven't done a game recording for a long time because it just feels messy and very difficult to format. I know there's lots of people out there that do it. There's lots of other channels that do it very well, but honestly, I think from what I understand, a lot of those do that as almost a full-time job. And I found it particularly annoying to film. Personally, I know you did in some ways as well, Dom, especially for trying to get all the stuff that people want on camera. But ultimately, I feel like the rule set really it's just run off at a very high pace, and they're so obsessed with the fact they need to change and balance that some people actually get annoyed with that.
It's a hard one, I think, because it's got so big and bloated, and the way that the codexes work. It's inevitably going to happen for 10th at some point. However, let's just enjoy it when it comes out for however long it lasts.
No, I'm well up for it now. Honestly, it's my big focus. I'm very happy. I better not be disappointed. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. 40k, really, isn't it?
Well, I'll have to quit then, won't I?
As for the other game systems, Necromunda, absolutely loved it. Brilliant game system. Gorkamorka, I still love Gorkamorka. It's awesome.
When was the last time you played it?
When was the last time I had a group of people to play it, eh?
Now, look, I've been up for every group that's been suggested, but it never materialised. So,
well,
do you remember that time that Necromunda thing came out, right? And you were like, let's do it again. Oh yeah, I've got 2 over there as well. But I'm talking about when we originally, went to play it, and I bought all the stuff for it, and it was. Yeah. I've even got the book over there for the old edition that I bought, so we could all play it, and it was like no one followed up. So.
I mean, maybe Tom, you should just, maybe it's you.
Oh, okay. You see, guys, this is what I got to put up with. But so many years of this.
Like Gorkamorka was brilliant. Convert your models, and you actually had a physical, like, if you can fit them in the truck, that's how many can go in the truck. It wasn't like, oh, well, you can put 10 men in a rhino, and everyone's like, how do you fit 10 men in a rhino? That doesn't work. And it was just this nice element of converting, which I think sometimes you don't get in some of the newer games.
Well, they've tried to make everything very, I suppose, silhouette-y nowadays to make sure you understand what it is. That's more important than necessarily the customization.
Well, it's more about selling the models, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I know. That's kind of my point. Yeah. They want this. Yeah, this is this, and this is this. Yeah. So let's have a look here. So I just got to catch up on some chat here because Stan's spamming some stuff in, which is great. So he's printed off 3 Gothic fleets. Gorka Walker is still the best. Played a bunch of games last year. And I've released Gorka Walker Fort Rebel, a 3D printable version. It sounds like you're into 3D printing, my friend. I like this. 40k rules. Best, in my opinion, was when 3rd came out and the index in the big rule book. Haven't played 8th, but I figure it would have been. So yes, 8th was good. We enjoyed 8th when the indexes came out. There was a period of calm at the beginning of 8th when everyone was on a very level playing field, and it was very much like, here's your book, off you go, don't worry about it. And then Jack says, could we not convince Dom to join the digital age? No, now, Jack, I'll tell you a story about Dom. We actually, when we first became friends, he was an avid computer gamer as well, and we used to do LAN parties, play games, all that kind of stuff. And if it was that Dom, I could probably convince him to get Tabletop Simulator to play it. But New Age Dom doesn't like computers.
It's nonsense.
Exactly. He's no. However, I understand his reasoning for not being able to play, because Dom has to choose his hobbies because he doesn't have the time.
Yeah. Of playing a digital version of the game, I can play it real.
So yeah, that's in a nutshell. This is it, you see. But I still remember playing Diablo 2 with him all those years ago. on my really well designed bench. I know. It makes me cry. I don't do carpentry. Now or probably ever.
No, you're not doing it again. You're like, that was a relief. Well, I know.
I had no intention to pick that up again and do it anymore. It's good.
Yeah.
So yes, but no. But Jack, if you ever want to play a game with me, I'm still in the computer gaming community myself. I still play a fair few games with some people as well. Because it's one of my relaxation things that I do. Because I find it just clears the old mind from work basically. So along with painting, that's what I've been finding at the moment. So, but yeah. I probably need to do some more 40k streams at some point with some games on our channel at some point, because I've actually I keep picking them up now and then and doing them, but never really sort of doing a full playthrough, which would be quite fun. But got time for that, no problem. But yeah,
good times. Yes, so there we go. No, Jack, I'm not doing any digital nonsense. And yes. Oh, the Gorkamorka one, I had the diggers, Zydan, with the truck with the little canopy.
Canapes? the old orc canopy truck. Oh, these mushrooms are excellent, sir.
Thank you very much.
The fun guy truck.
Yeah. Yeah, fun times. Yeah, they were cool models. I think the vehicles, maybe the Orc Boys had that weird period where Orc Boys were very odd looking.
Well, I mean, the very early ones very much kind of...
Yeah, no, because it went weird. It was like Orc Boys had this, like, normal, or Orcs in general, had this shape. That's what they were. And then Gorkamorka, they changed it because they had this weird design that was going on. And then they went back. So there's this weird period. If you've got someone's got a massive orc collection, you could probably pick out quite quickly which ones were the Gorkamorka orcs and go, what is going on with these guys? It's a bit like in Star Trek with the Klingons in the original one, and then the later ones, where you're like, what? They aren't Klingons, they're just dressed funny. Maybe it's the weird orc period no one talks about.
No one wants to mention it.
Yeah, like... Oh, they're from that planet. Oh.
Also, just for anyone who has not joined us in Discord, sorry for interrupting, Dom. I'm just going to put in a quick invite for anyone who hasn't joined us.
Brian Nelson. Oh, sorry, let's have a look.
I'm going to have a look myself as well now. It's funny you say Brian Nelson. I'm quite concerned because I think I had a comment from someone with a very similar name the other day.
What, you saying something horrible about orcs?
No, the one who commented about my painting.
Yeah, probably him.
No, I think it was Brian Nielsen, not Nelson. Yeah.
You get all up in your high horse, and it was like, Games Workshop legend trying to help you out.
I hope not, because I hid him from the channel.
Classic Gorkamorka boys were pretty... yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I can see why they did that. Yeah, they were pretty easily converted. Yeah. Tom, did you just say you banned someone?
I didn't ban. I just removed the comment.
Oh, right, okay.
Because I didn't feel it was fitting with the series I was running, because... If I'm totally honest, that's why I'm pretty sure it's not this person. But in all seriousness, it's not. It was a different name, slightly different. But it was. I mean, actually, it's quite an interesting subject to me, because I did my recent painting series I've done is about someone who's trying to overcome not being able to paint because they've got it's just like it's been impossible for like months, and then suddenly trying to sort of get back into getting some consistency going again, and then someone who may or may not have been trying to be very helpful, listed off a very long... I mean, I don't know if you read it or not.
I did read it, yeah.
Of stuff that I felt was a little bit condescending in a way, because if you went back and look at some of the other videos on our channel that I have done, you can see that I clearly know how to do all those things, in my opinion. Especially if you look at some of my the Chaos Demons ones, where I've done my demons and stuff like that in certain ways. And odds are that it's probably more the fact that the video I did, maybe the lighting wasn't fantastic, because of I was filming literally set where I am now, turned around without a heavy overhead light, whatever. But I think, especially in this day and age, some people do like to stick their oar in sometimes, and try and maybe help too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I read the comment.
Yeah. Call me sensitive or whatever you want. It's just personally.
I think it's you've got to kind of look at it in different ways, haven't you? That people, I think, generally, I generally try and help and be positive and stuff. However, something to keep in mind is, for instance, like my previous job, a lot of people, it was a global business. A lot of people working in the office, English wasn't their first language, and people in other offices, they were around, and so when they were putting themselves across in email form or text form or chat form or whatever, it could come across quite hard to read, and you're like, actually, are they being funny with me? Is that, what's going on here? And so I when I'm reading these comments, sometimes I'm trying to keep that in mind. I know sometimes it's very obvious that's not what they're getting across. In fact, there might be an agenda behind what they're saying. Also, this is just generally, this is not necessarily about this particular comment or channel, but just generally, I kind of feel like also you have people out there that are on, and this is no disrespect to anyone that is on the autistic spectrum, and when they're putting this across, they just say it how it is. They've got no qualms about who you are or what you're talking in. This is what they're going to put across, and they're trying to be as helpful as they can. But sometimes, hey, that's what, and it's hard to hear. Like I've had a couple of my autistic people that I've known that I've just suddenly met up with, and they'll say something, and I'm like, what? Are you trying to be funny?
Oh, dear.
But that's just how they are, and you've got to kind of get used to that. And all right, that's how it is,
and that's fine. It's not a problem. It was just, for me, it was definitely, I think when I took what that video was trying to convey and the context, it didn't fit what was going, for what I was trying to, I suppose, go for. And I know that's a comment from someone else, so I don't have control over that. Well, technically I do to a certain degree, because I can remove the comment, which is what I did. But it wasn't necessarily, because I actually personally felt that instead of maybe doing an inflammatory reply where I got upset at someone for no real reason, I thought actually just removing it from the equation was an easier option for me, because I don't want to get in a slanging match with someone about that, of all things. Christ, it's just so many more important things out there. But for me, when I read it through, I felt like that person hadn't watched the video or even the first one and actually understood what I was actually personally going through at the time when I started doing that, because I was actually going quite, from a painting point of view, I thought I was actually in quite a weird place, from trying to get myself back. Yeah, no, and that was kind of more what I was getting at. I don't necessarily take full offence of that comment, because I'm always welcome for advice, but I felt like he listed off everything, and I was like, sometimes you look at it and like going, are you trolling? Or are you, as you said, are you just not conveying what you're putting across? But the thing is, it was all written in pretty good English. So I was kind of very much like, and like I said, I can be a little bit overly sensitive with this kind of stuff sometimes, personally, because I get quite attached to what I'm doing. I mean, I've had certain people that we've known that we used to be friends with that used to get under my skin with very basic things, because I'm like, stop telling me what to do. This is how I'm doing it, and that's because I'm quite set in the way I do things, and sometimes it's not, and it's nothing against the people trying to give me advice or anything. Personally, I just sometimes I look at things and go, well, actually, that's not as bad as what you're making out, regardless of what you say.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sometimes it is like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
because someone can be critical of something.
Yeah.
Whatever, a video or something I painted or in person or whatever. And actually, to be fair, I might think it is criticism. And I might think you're completely out of line, I don't believe in what you're saying in any way.
Mm.
I'm right, you're wrong. I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing.
Yes.
But then if I detach myself from that situation, I might actually go, actually, this guy's got a point. Like,
Yeah. But
maybe I am doing it wrong.
But sometimes I do that. Yeah.
You've set me up that I'm now going to be defensive from the get-go. And it is hard, like, you know, when you're reading comments, that it's hard to kind of, if you read one that you don't necessarily agree with, and especially that one in particular is quite a long and detailed one, and perhaps a person had started writing it before they'd even watched the whole video.
That's exactly,
and they just went,
yeah.
And the amount of times people do that is it's unbelievable, that you'd start commenting and stuff and go, actually, I'm not going to finish this video. I've put my comment, I'm off, kind of thing. So yeah, it can be hard.
Yeah. So like I said, I've always welcomed feedback, and you know, me and you, both you and me, have had some particularly weird comments about some of our videos. I mean, I think the one that sticks in my mind was the lip. Do you remember the lip smacking period? Where people were complaining because we were smacking our lips apparently after everything we said. We're like, we're just talking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it's really bizarre little things that people sort of pick out. And sorry, I was going to quickly catch up on some comments here. So Zidane was saying, best tip I've ever had was dedicating half an hour every day. When I finished up an army. And yes, that's not. I'm kind of doing a very similar thing at the moment where, if I have a free moment, I tend to sit down and just put, it doesn't matter what it is, just a couple little things on. Seems to be working quite well at the moment. And Jack saying, your series is good to see. It's honest. I get so bored with a lot of YouTubers with the I tired or I'm fed up with GW. Yeah, I mean, that's not, as you know, that's not where I was coming from. This was a very, I suppose, a personal issue for me at the moment. And that was more important to convey. For me,
yeah, I mean, Jack, for instance, said take that point. Yeah, I'm fed up with that as well. I'm fed up with people who get everything they want for free from Games Workshop. Yeah, they happily accept every codex they get, and then they go, "Oh, it's rubbish." And I mean, there's a point of being critical, and a point of just going, "Oh, it's rubbish." Games Workshop don't know what they're doing. I was like, just like, you've accepted it. You've taken your bribe. And just, if you want to be on the bandwagon, take the bribe and run with it. Go, yes, the best book I've ever actually read. I'm definitely going to do this army. Just say it. That's what they want you to say. Just say it. If you don't like Games Workshop,
don't take it.
Send
it back.
Thank you very much for the offer of the free book, or the free box set every month.
Yeah,
like, I have no idea how these people catch up.
You're completely right. Completely right. I completely agree.
It.
Yeah.
Go, no.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want it. I could still enjoy the hobby. I could still be critical of the hobby.
But don't sell something you're not into. The
minute you're getting Games Workshop literally giving you money, just do what they expect you to do. Yeah. Be the little puppets.
Dom, you do realise now, if we ever get anything together, we're going to have to send it back, right?
No, I will be all on board. I've just said. I'm 100%. Look, Games Workshop, from me to you, right? If you send us stuff, I'll sell my soul. I'm more than happy to say it's the best book I've ever read. Best laid out codex ever. I'll be critical of this in any way. Best codex.
Yeah, I mean, the contents page is the best page in my opinion.
Yeah.
It helps you find what you need to get to.
There you go. But yes, the process, going back to what Jack said.
Yeah.
The process of how to deal with, it is an important one. It is hard, especially if you feel that you have to be constantly creating stuff. It is hard to keep pumping stuff out, and if you're not in the mood, you're not in the mood.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that get
and that's basically where I got. I mean, I spoke to you about this multiple times. There's lots of things going on in my life as well, from a work perspective, and just being a little bit, I suppose people would say, low. And ultimately, that sometimes translates into not wanting to do things even that you enjoy, which sucks, quite frankly. And that was kind of the point of the video. It was trying to convey that basically. And then I thought, actually, that comment wasn't particularly welcome in that environment, because I felt it was someone who hadn't really appreciated what the point of the whole, you know, you're saying all that stuff to someone who's having trouble getting painting again and stuff is like, what? It doesn't make sense. You know, contextually, it doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, if you are watching, if it was meant in good spirits, I apologise, because but a lot of people will always start the sentence with, "If I may assist you with this," or "Don't mind if I say this," or "I'm not being rude," or I mean, ultimately, I'd rather if you went, "I'm not being rude, but your models are shit." I can deal with that, because it's like, whatever. You just don't like what I'm doing. Cool.
Yeah,
whatever.
Exactly. It's a good hobby. Yeah. Also, a lot of YouTube come to a divs. Yeah, me trying to wind up like total Mate, I'm so laid back. You've got to try a lot harder to wind me up. It takes a long time to wind me up.
Does it?
I've got 2 young children.
I don't know. I feel like if I really dedicated myself, I could probably do something.
Well, true, Tom. True, but I think that might backfire on you.
Maybe, but it depends what the goal is, doesn't it? I mean,
yes, yeah. It's if you're putting yourself out there for any sort of content or to put anything out there, you're gonna have the good and the bad. And,
of course,
like 99% of the stuff we get is good.
Yeah, I can't. Honestly, you guys that watch our streams regularly and stuff like that. I mean, it's not. We understand we're not conveying to a huge crowd. We're just not. We're not. That's not really what we've, I suppose, developed. But what we have developed has been quite nice and quite close, which is kind of, I suppose, how we tend to sort of do things like our games and things like that. Anyway, it tends to be a very small group of people that we know and are comfortable with, and that's kind of what we've grown up with. I mean, everyone dreams of having millions of subscribers and stuff like that. Great, but ultimately, if you've got, I don't know, 10,000 plus subscribers, do you really know every single one of them?
That's the nicest way to go. We know all your names.
Yeah,
because
I can count you all on one hand at the moment.
We got to click on you the longest as we can.
But I always feel more connected to people because we get slightly more personal conversations when we're talking to you guys, because we're not having to spin through a chat that's constantly moving. I've watched stuff where people have watched stuff, and you can see some people in chat getting frustrated because the person that's doing the stream isn't concentrating on what they're saying. And inevitably that does happen when you get to a certain size. You just can't keep up with everyone. And if you try to, I'd imagine it'll probably end up with a mental breakdown. Quite frankly.
Yeah, and that'd be amazing to watch some of those streams which they try to reply to everyone.
Rules lie like that. There are loads of odd opinions on both sides. Salt in opinions is like salt in a diet. Too much is unhealthy, but too little is also unhealthy. You're quite right. And so many people with weirdly positive or negative, whether it makes sense or not. Sometimes the hype sells the channel, or the salt sells the channel. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we could just be really salty about everything, and you never know, it might be more popular, because it's a weird thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I would like to say, as like previously said about selling our souls to Games Workshop, pro that. But currently, we are very, we just say it how it is. Like, if this is how we feel, we're going to say. We've got we're not trying to sell ourselves through clickbait. This is just genuine.
Goblin Gaming! Use the link!
Or something. But we're just genuine people, just our own opinions. We haven't sold ourselves too much. And we're, that's how it is. Sometimes Games Workshop do amazing things. Sometimes they do shocking things. That's just the way it is. But a lot of these other content creators, I could quite happily just go down this massive
Don't do
rabbit hole.
Don't do
it. Burn every bridge that we've got.
You can do
it. Our bridge is like a rope bridge with a couple of little wonky planks.
Someone hold on. You're not quite gone yet. Just don't say it. Don't say our name.
We're not. Yeah, I'm not going to say their name. But like I said before, so many just slate it constantly. Whatever Games Workshop do, they can't do anything right. Like, it's always criticism. But here we all are. We're still buying the plastic crack. They must be doing something right.
I mean, they're not like me with my ATV, are they? You know, I'm not buying that ATV. Even
No.
if they sent me one, I would send it back with not even a thank you note. I'll just put a return to sender on it and say, nope, not interested.
No, Games Workshop, don't listen. You send me an ATV.
If
I'll say it's the best model ever.
microwave. Rules IL says, I like you guys because you treat your fans like mates at the pub. I mean, sure. That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, generally we've got an amazing group of people, which I've always tried to encourage with the Discord. I'm like, honestly, join it. It's great. They're all lovely people. We get on and we all have a good laugh.
And challenge is due in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, get on with it.
Get on with it now. All right.
Finger out.
I'm asking you right now. Well, I think maybe we should probably wrap up there, Dom. Do you think?
I think that's probably a good idea.
I think we before we go down a big rabbit hole and get ourselves in trouble.
Burn the bridges!
Burn them all! Here's a list of people we don't like on YouTube.
No, burn the tunnels!
I've prepared this. I've got a button on my macro. It's going to stream down the screen right now. We don't want. If you're on this list, we don't know who you are. By the way, we're at Warhammer Fest next week.
Best hype sellout I can remember was when Hellstorm Mikey got in on the Twitch hot tub meta. He did a kiddie ball.
I mean, having met Mikey, both of us, I quite like him. To be fair, he's a pretty no nonsense kind of guy. And he runs a good event. To be fair, I can't really deny him that. So I think we've enjoyed his events we've been up to, haven't we? Dom's like going, yeah, he's not very nice.
No, he's a nice
horrible guy.
Mikey. There's a couple of people that I can say are not nice guys, but Mikey is a genuinely nice guy. So well done, Mikey. If you ever watch this, you're a nice guy.
Yeah, indeedy. But anyway, let's leave it there before we get ourselves in trouble.
I can tell you right now. No, we're going.
Yeah. So anyway, really good to speak to you all this evening, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll catch you. I don't think we're streaming next week, are we? I think we're going to leave it for a week, aren't we? Because we'll be on after Warhammer Fest for the challenge, but also just give us a wrap up of what we did up there. So if you guys are up there, come find us. Drop us a message.
Bye, kids.
But until then, I am Tom, and this is and we both are Black Toe Studios, and we'll see you all very soon. Take care, everyone.